we are watching the leaderboard closely at the National Results Operations Centre in Pretoria. Sally Burdett is there. She'd been for quite a while now. Let's cross over to her live. Sally, very good evening. You've been there for quite a while, and we were hoping things would move a little faster than they have been. But we've been updated recently, haven't we? What's the latest?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are very close to that 90% mark. You might remember that the IEC was hoping to get to 90% of votes finalised by the end of yesterday. Well, they're certainly going to get there by the end of today. They're currently on 89% of votes, and this is the vote not counted, not collated, not audited once, not audited twice. It has gone through a number of checks and balances before it arrives on the boards behind me and in the computer system in front of me. 89% of the votes in the local government election have been finalised. And of course, the areas we're waiting on are the really big metros. So there's a lot of focus on how those are shaping up. And of course, we're seeing a lot of hung municipalities where no party has a clear majority. In fact, the last time I looked, there are 54 hung municipalities. So there's going to have to be some sort of power sharing coalition agreement in each and every one of those for effective government. That is going to be the sort of stuff that's going to be taking place over the next few days as parties scramble to find and to try and create some sort of stability. But it is interesting if you look at the national picture, the ANC, and they've acknowledged that they would fall below 50% for the first time ever in their history. 46% of those 89% votes collated so far. The DA on 21%. So we are seeing a drop for both the major parties. The EFF, though, holding fairly steady. They're on 10% of the national vote. But let's take you to the floor of the Results Operations Centre. Even though we're getting into later in the evening now, there's definitely a bit more energy and a bit more buzz. So let me cross to my colleague, Slindelo Masikane. Hi, Slee. What have you got for us?
Definitely a lot of excitement here on the floor, Sally, as the results continue to come in. We're getting a clearer picture as to what the electorate and voters have decided for their municipalities, for their communities, and who they want to see govern over the next couple of years. But we're also seeing some of the smaller parties making inroads in some wards and municipalities, and others gaining ground where they didn't have none. I am joined by the IFP's Albert Mwanga. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I'm looking at the numbers. The national picture is showing me that you guys have gained 5.35% support in this year's municipal elections. You're actually looking at 7 councils that you have secured, which is resulting in about 326 in KwaZulu-Natal specifically. Are you satisfied with this result? Because it doesn't seem as though you've made inroads in other provinces.
Well, thank you very much. We are indeed very, very thrilled with the results that actually have come through up to now. And it really shows that the electoral message and our campaign message actually resonated with the voters. We actually, were asking them and to trust us, and the response to that has been overwhelming. Yeah, it is true that we are doing so well, because if you're looking at the national, percentage vote that we have achieved as IFP so far, is actually more than 5%. And this is a remarkable achievement, considering that we are actually coming from a slightly above 2%, national tally. But this is an upward trajectory that we had embarked on since 2016. You will remember that in 2016, the IFP actually, achieved tremendous growth. Of course, this time around, we have actually made such a remarkable growth. So clearly, we are very pleased. We are very humbled with the response of the electorate.
Let's talk about coalitions, because that's the big conversation we're having right now, especially with so many hung municipalities. Are there parties that you're not willing to work with? Are there parties that you want to work with?
Well, as a party, we actually have not discussed the issue of coalitions. Yes, we are mindful of the fact that in many municipalities, there will be a situation which will actually compel parties to work together. But at this point, the party has not actually decided on the position that we are going to adopt as IFP.
Your party has taken stronghold of the municipality or the ward where the former president resides in the Zululand area. What do you think about your message helped you to do that?
Well, the president is not going to be treated differently from the rest of the population in that particular ward. The IFP is a party that knows how to actually respond to the needs of the people, including the needs of the president. We respect Mr. Zuma as our former head of state, and we are committed to actually give him the kind of services that will actually also be available to the people in his ward.
Lastly, are you satisfied with how the IEC conducted these elections?
Well, overall, yes, they tried their best, but there are glitches which, in our view, could have been avoided. One of such glitches is the use of the VMD machine. I would have, used the VMD machine in by-elections first before I plunge it into these very serious elections. I mean, there are so many cases where people were not captured, did not appear on the voters' roll, and they were turned away. I remember that yesterday we were actually talking about, as high as 40,000 people who actually did not appear on the voters' roll. This is a very big number, and those people, I would imagine, actually feel that their rights were deprived of voting for the people they like. So we wouldn't like a situation where, situations that are actually going to compromise the integrity of the elections. And that would be very bad, because that will ultimately put a question mark on the democratic project.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mngwanga. I think that's where we can leave it. Thank you for your time. Sally, as you've heard from the representative from the IFP, Mr. Albert Mngwanga, the party hasn't as yet gotten into discussions around who they're willing to work with coalitions, but they understand that this is something that's going to have to happen, promising that the former president in his particular area, because they've gained the majority there, saying that he won't be treated any differently than any of the other residents there in that particular area, saying that they are looking forward to the final results. Right now, we are sitting at 89%.
Wow, we're getting ever closer, aren't we, Slee? Thank you so much for that update from the floor. And